Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Good morning, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Okay, guys. So now we will start. One thing, guys, few students join at at sharp time, but tomorrow or from next class, all the students, it's my humble request to join at time. Okay. If there is any issue, you can tell us. Otherwise, you all are supposed to join at time. Okay. So now we will start. So the last lecture, lecture 2 of solid state physics, everything was clear to you guys? Any query, any doubt?
Ma'am, could you please solve the first question? Actually, I have a problem in the first question. Other question I have solved. So
Who is
please discuss the
speaking?
first question.
Aarti, Shravya? Who is?
Aarti, ma'am.
Aarti. Yeah, Aarti, I can do one thing. I will give you the solution, okay, on WhatsApp, because yeah, it will take some time now. So let's not, yeah. So I will share the solution, all the solutions, in fact, if others also have problems. So Justin, Hasmukh, Shravya, you try to solve these problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you got all the answers?
Yes,
No,
ma'am. But first
no, I don't have.
problem, we do have a doubt.
Okay, yes, and yes, Justin.
Ma'am, I am Hasmukh.
Yes, Hasmukh, yes, please. Huh, yeah.
I have a problem in first and fourth problem.
Okay, no issue. Okay, so after the lecture, na, I will give you the solution on WhatsApp. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, उसमें कुछ problem होगा तो you can ask me. ठीक है?
Okay.
Now, चलो हम now we will start at lecture 3 on solid state physics. Okay, so now we will discuss these few topics. X-ray diffraction we will discuss, and then we will discuss about the Bragg's law and reciprocal lattices, Brillouin zone, and previous year problems of net, gate, and jest we will discuss about. So first, X-ray diffraction. I want to tell you a little bit about the X-ray diffraction, guys. So basically in crystal, we use X-ray diffraction to identify the atomic arrangement inside the crystals. Okay, if we want to collect some more information about our crystals, so we go for X-ray diffraction. Okay, and one second, guys. Yeah, so basically this X-ray diffraction, you all know about the diffraction, so I will not discuss with you the basic of diffraction. But what happens in inside the crystal? In crystal, you have so many, we can say, number of lattices and or atom. More precisely, they are arranged in a regular manner. Okay, but if you ever saw a X-ray diffraction, you saw that there will be so many peaks, different peaks. Okay, and these peaks are basically related to the atomic planes inside the crystal. In last lecture, we discussed about in detail about the atomic planes. Now, so these atomic planes are responsible to produce X-ray diffraction. Okay, so the spacing, the uniform spacing between the atomic planes inside the crystal behaves as a grating in X-ray diffraction. Okay, you know about the grating or small aperture in the diffraction. So the little spacing in between the atomic planes is responsible to produce X-ray diffraction. Okay, and but in crystallography we have few certain conditions. Okay, and if these conditions are satisfied, only then we get a X-ray diffraction for a particular crystal. So Briggs was a scientist. He performed an experiment, and it's also known as von Lewis treatment. And using this treatment, using this experiment, he gave some conditions for the diffraction of X-ray diffraction in crystals. Okay, so you can see like this is a this is a two-dimensional crystal, we can say, and these are the atoms which are arranged in this manner. Okay, and these are the planes. This is a plane, this is a plane. So these two planes are basically parallel planes. So the distance between these two planes will be d, that is interplanar spacing. Okay, and we perform, I will not discuss the detail this phenomena, because we are trying to solve the problems based on these assumptions. Okay, so what they discovered, Braggs discovered that the diffraction of X-rays inside the crystal, it's basically same as the reflection of this X-ray for these evenly spaced planes. Means the problem was, the initial problem was the X-ray diffraction inside the crystal. So using this treatment, Bragg suggested that this problem is converted into basically the reflection of the reflection from evenly spaced planes. Okay, if we are using monochromatic X-rays inside this treatment. Okay, so he discovered few very important conditions for X-ray diffraction. Okay, so you can see in this the path difference we can calculate here. Okay, this is the path difference. So path difference, if you know about the path difference for constructive interference, the path difference should be integer multiple of this lambda, this wavelength used. So using this structure, you can see the path difference, it is 2d sine theta. You can calculate from here. Okay, so 2d sine theta is actually the path difference. If we apply the condition for constructive interference, so this path difference will be integer multiple of this lambda. Okay, so this condition is known as Bragg's law, the famous Bragg's law, and this is the main condition which is required to fulfill in your X-ray diffraction inside the crystal. Okay, and your d is nothing but it is the interplanar spacing, and theta is this angle. Okay, and lambda is a wavelength which lambda is a wavelength of X-ray. We are using the X-ray, so lambda is a wavelength. Okay, one more important thing guys, you all know that your crystal, in crystal atoms are equally spaced, but the distance between these atoms is very small. Okay, in terms of angstrom. So the condition is, if we are using some X-ray and the lambda is the wavelength of this X-ray, so the condition for diffraction to take place is that your lambda, the wavelength of your X-ray, should be less than 2d. Means d is your interplanar spacing, so this condition should be fulfilled. Okay, and nearly inside we can say in these crystals, your interplanar spacing is order of 3 angstrom. Okay, roughly it's 3 angstrom, so your lambda should be less than 6 angstrom. So sometimes in gate examination these types of questions asked. Okay, so you also need to remember this formula, and this is a very important formula. Okay, so now we will see few important problems based on Bragg's law. Okay, and this is from June 2015 exam of NET. Your problem is X-ray of wavelength lambda equals to A is reflected from 1 plane of a simple cubic lattice. Okay, if the lattice constant is A, so corresponding Bragg's angle in radian, you have to calculate it. So what you have a plane, Miller indices of a plane 1 1 1. You have lambda is nothing but A, that is lattice constant, and you need to figure out the value of your Bragg angle, but in radian. Okay, so you have to apply the formula 2d sine theta equals to n lambda, right? And you can separate, you can also use the interplanar spacing formula DHKL, and because it's a cube here, simple cubic lattice here, so we will take A. Okay, so it's A upon h square plus k square plus l square. Put the values of these Miller indices HKL, so it will be A by root 3. Put this value of D here. Okay, and if nothing is given here, okay, and we will take n equals to 1, means we are talking about our first peak. Okay, so sine theta will be your lambda upon 2d. Lambda is A, put the value, and it will be root 3 by 2, and it's the value of sine pi by 3, sine 60 degree. Okay, and pi by 3, if we are taking the value of angle in pi in terms of phi, that means in radian. Okay, and if you want to calculate in degree, so it will be 60 degrees. So theta will be pi by 3, means your option C is correct option. Okay, so see, this problem is very, very simple, but it's these types of problems now quite common in NET and GATE examination. Okay, so solve problems these types of problems. So this is from GATE 2012 examination, and this is a simple cubic crystal with lattice parameter AC undergoes transition into a tetragonal structure, okay, with lattice parameter AT equals to BT equals to under root 2 AC and CT equals to 2 AC. Means what? We have a simple cubic crystal whose lattice constant is AC, and we transform this structure into a tetragonal structure, guys. Okay, and now the lattice parameter of this new tetragonal structures are AT equals to BT and equals to 2AC under root 2AC. So these are the lattice parameters we or the sides of this tetragonal structure. Okay, and CT equals to 2AC below a certain temperature. So the ratio of the interplanar spacing of 101 plane for the cubic and tetragonal structure is, okay, so you have to find out D, the ratio of D for this plane in these crystal structures, cubic and tetragonal. So question is clear to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great. Now we will see how we can calculate. So it's quite simple. Okay, so the formula of interplanar spacing is this. Yeah, A equals to h square plus k square plus L square. But this formula is only valid for a cubic lattice because we are taking A only. Okay, but for cubic crystal, we are taking A as AC. So put this as AC. Okay, and HKL are 101. So it will be AC by root 2. Now, our new structure is a tetragonal structure. So for tetragonal structure, we will use the formula, same formula, but the formula will be 1 upon h square plus a square plus k square plus b square plus L square upon c square. Remember the formula? The value of A and B are represented as AT and BT. So your AT, BT are basically under root 2 AC. Okay, for convenience, we can take, okay, yeah. So put the value of here, okay, and CT or CT is 2AC. So that it means ki we can convert all these A, B, C in terms of AC only, put all the values here and simplify. So it will be h square plus k square upon AC square plus L square upon C square. Okay, so put the values of C in terms of AC and HKL are 101. So it will be 2AC by root 3. So you have to find the ratio of this DC and DT. So DC upon DT will be, divide these two terms, it will be root 3 by 8. Okay. Okay, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so this, so guys, this is the problem from NET exam, 2014 exam. And the problem is, when laser light of wavelength lambda falls on a metal scale with 1 mm engravings at a grazing angle of incidence, it is diffracted to form a vertical chain of diffraction spots on a screen kept perpendicular to the scale. If the wavelength of the laser is increased by 200 nanometer, the angle of the first order diffraction spot changes from 5 degree to. Okay, so what you have lambda, okay, the wavelength of your laser. Okay, the 1 millimeter is some engravings. Okay, so what you know about the engravings? What is engravings? In Brake's law, the Brake's law is 2d sine theta equals to n lambda, guys. So that term 2d is also known as engraving. Okay, so the terms, the symbols we are, basically the terms we are using are quite different, but it's the same thing. Okay, so 1 millimeter, that is engraving, is basically 2d. Okay, and your grazing angle is theta. Okay, so they are saying that when they increase the wavelength by 200 nanometer, means initially your wavelength is lambda, but now you are changing this lambda, okay, by lambda dash, means you are increasing by this term. So your new lambda will be lambda plus 200. Okay, so you have to find the change in theta. Okay, so now we will see. So for you will use 2d sine theta equals to n lambda, or okay, so b is the width of slit, or you can say this is the engraving. Okay, and for first order diffraction, your m will be, your n will be 1. So b sine theta equals to n lambda, because we are talking about first order diffraction peak. So b sine theta equals to lambda. Now we will use our conditions, means now our new lambda, that is lambda dash maybe, is lambda plus 200. So your new condition will be v sine theta dash b, because our theta is also changing, huh? So it will be lambda plus 200. So our first condition is this, b sine theta equals to lambda. Our second condition is this. Okay, so we have to find out the change in this theta. So just subtract these two equations, means 2 and 1. So b sine theta minus v sine theta dash equals to 200. Okay, so first calculate the value of this sine theta dash minus sine theta. It will be 200 upon b. Okay, and your sine theta dash will be this, because this 200 in terms of nanometer, it's 200 nanometer. So we will convert in meter. So multiply by 10 to the power 9, and b was given, it's 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, so 1 mm. So 1 mm is 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Okay, so just solve this term. Okay, so you get 2 into 10 to the power minus 4 plus sine theta. Okay, and that equals to 2 in okay, and your initial angle sine theta was 5 degrees. So put the values here. You can find out the value of sine 5 degree, because this problem is from GATE examination, I guess, net examination. If it's in net examination, so if such kind of angle values are given, so it will be definitely given somewhere. Okay, so sine 5 degree is this. Okay, so you can calculate the value of your theta dash, and your theta dash will be this 5.01 degree, means initially you have 5 degree angle, and now your angle will be 5.01. Okay guys, clear? So your option, third option, is correct option. Okay, clear guys?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, great. Now monochromatic, okay, these are the two problems. So you are supposed to solve these problems. Okay, so these are the simple problems. It's from IIT JEM examination, and this is from JEST examination. Okay, so solve these problems. In case of any doubt, ask me. Okay, these problems are based on the same Bragg's law, okay, same formulas. So just try to solve these problems.
Okay, ma'am, we will try.
Yeah, sure. And please guys, I have one thing, you have books of Puri and Babar and Kittel now. So simultaneously, please be serious guys, and try to solve the problems, and try to read all these things which we are covering simultaneously, so that आपके जितने भी doubts हैं ना, वो hand to hand clear हो जाएंगे. Okay, so please try, or we have to clear exam. Okay, so it's not that easy. Okay, so yeah, and one more thing, if you want to apply for GATE examination, the notification is out from tomorrow, I think, and I think from 14th you can apply. You can fill the application form for GATE 2021. So you can check on
Okay.
website. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So now we will discuss about the reciprocal lattice, and it's a very important important topic. Okay, so if you understand about the reciprocal lattice, you can understand about the brilliant zone and structure factor and so many things. So it's very, very important. So basically, we what is the reciprocal lattice? We just in first slide discussed about a little bit about the X-ray diffraction. Okay, and what we go for X-ray diffraction, because we want to collect some information about the atomic arrangements inside your crystal. right? So you heard about the direct lattice, means the atomic planes, everything you till now you understand. It's basically in direct lattice. Okay, so in direct lattice you can describe your crystal structure, but to collect information about the arrangement of atom, you need to understand X-ray diffraction. Okay, and if you as I have already told you that in X-ray diffraction we get some peaks. Okay, and these peaks are Bragg peaks, means they are related to atomic planes. Okay, and these Bragg peaks we get at different locations, means at different angle and in different directions. So okay, so these peaks are related to atomic planes, but this relation is not that much simple, because there is some method. So if we want to understand about the X-ray diffraction, about the Bragg peaks inside the X-ray diffraction, and about the arrangements of atomic planes or atoms inside the crystal, you need to understand about the reciprocal lattice. So that time there is no specific relation between the Bragg peaks and atomic planes. So it's quite impossible to understand about the atomic arrangement. So the solution is given by Ewald Peter. Okay, he was a German physicist and crystallographer. So he gave the concept of reciprocal lattice. Okay, and reciprocal lattice is basically we can say it's the notation system, lattice notation system, and we can relate both the direct lattice and reciprocal lattice by Fourier transform. So Fourier transform you all know in mathematical physics. So by Fourier transform we can relate these two types of lattices, direct lattice and your reciprocal lattice system. So if we want to know the only the definition of reciprocal lattice, guys, so basically each set of parallel planes, set of parallel planes inside the direct lattice, so this set can be represented by the normal to these planes and having length equal to the reciprocal of the interplanar spacing. Means in direct lattice you will have a parallel plane set. Okay, so this set we can represent by normal to these planes. Okay, take a normal to these planes and take a reciprocal of this normal. Okay, and this reciprocal should be equal to the reciprocal of the interplanar spacing, right? So in this way we will draw all the normals. Okay, and these normals are drawn from an arbitrary origin, and the end point of these normals is marked, and the collection of all these end points is known as reciprocal lattice system. So this is the definition. Well, but we will understand in detail how we can construct a reciprocal lattice to a direct lattice. Okay, so first thing, okay, so this is your 1 minute, guys. So this is our direct lattice, and this is a monoclinic crystal structure inside your direct lattice. So these are the few steps you need to understand. These steps what we will do if we are constructing reciprocal lattice. So first, in your direct lattice you have to choose a origin. Okay, and this origin will be your indirect lattice, and this is your arbitrary origin. Okay, so yeah, so this is your direct lattice system, and this is your monoclinic crystal structure in direct lattice. Now we will draw reciprocal lattice system for this. So for this we are like, we need to take we need to understand about the planes. So we like this is your 0, 0, 1 plane. Okay, if you clearly understand the last lecture, you can figure out how we are writing this 0, 0, 1. So these are the atomic planes. This is 0, 0, 1 plane, and this plane is parallel to this plane, so this will also be 0, 0, 1 plane. The top and bottom are also parallel planes, and their Miller indices will be 1, 0, 0, and this diagonal plane is 1, 0, 1 plane. Okay, so now we will take these planes as a line in this system. Okay, so now we for visualization and so that our construction is can be easy. Okay, so only for this we are taking these planes as lines. Okay, so first thing, your this plane 1, 0, 0, this is your plane. So now we will draw a line, and we are writing here 1, 0, 0. So this line is basically a plane. Okay, and this plane 1, 0, 0 is now this line. Okay, 0 0. Okay, sorry, I'm speaking like 1 0 0. It's 0 0 1. Okay, so this is 0 0 1 plane. So this is now your line, and this line, this is also 0 0 1 plane. Okay, and this top plane, this is now your 1 0 0 line. So why we are taking line? Because so that our construction is easy, and we can easily visualize this thing. Okay, so these are basically planes, but for convenience we are taking these as line. Okay, and the diagonal one, this is your 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 plane. Yeah. Now, so your first step is you have to choose a set of parallel planes inside the direct lattice. Okay, guys, and also you need to choose a origin, arbitrary origin. Suppose this is your origin O, and we are taking the set of parallel planes 1 0 0 1 1 0 0. Now we will draw a normal to these planes. Okay, from this arbitrary origin, we will draw a normal to these planes, 1 0 0 planes, and the length of this normal should be equal to the reciprocal of interplanar spacing between these two planes. So if we have two 1 0 0 planes, so what would be the interplanar spacing between them? D1 0 0. Okay, so this length of this normal is basically 1 upon D1 0 0. So suppose this is your length and this is your end point. To mark the end point of this normal. Okay, so this point is now 1 0 0, and this point is your reciprocal lattice. Okay, 1 0 0 reciprocal lattice. Okay, guys, clear?
मैम एक बार रिपीट कर दो.
Okay, please. Okay, no issue. 1 minute. Okay. Let me go back. Okay. So this is your direct lattice system, and this is your monoclinic crystal structure. We are taking crystal structure because we need to identify the parallel planes. So 0 0 1 0 0 1 are one set of parallel planes. 1 0 0 1 0 0 is another set of parallel planes, and 1 0 1 is your diagonal plane here. So for this, in place of these planes, we draw lines. Okay, this line 1 0 0 plane, this line 0 0 1 plane, this line is also 0 0 1 plane, this line is 1 0 0 plane, and this diagonal wala, this is your 1 0 1 plane. Okay, guys, so now first step, if you are creating reciprocal lattice, choose an arbitrary origin. Suppose this we choose. So this is your origin O. From this origin, we will draw a normal like this on these planes 1 0 0 1 0 0. So only in this way we can draw a normal. Okay, and the length of this normal will be 1 upon D1 0 0. D1 0 0 is the interplanar spacing between these two planes 1 0 0. So suppose this is your length. Okay, mark this point, the end point of this normal, like this. So this end point of the normal is basically your 1 0 0 lattice, but in reciprocal lattice system. Means now this point is your reciprocal lattice of 1 0 0. Okay, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we will have a 2 0 0 plane somewhere here. Okay, so for 2 0 0 plane, we will also repeat the same process. Okay, we will draw a normal on 2 0 0 plane, and the distance and the normal will be 1 upon 2 0 0. Okay, so if you know 1 upon D2 0 0 will be greater than 1 upon D1 0 0. Okay, you can use the formula and find out the exact value. Okay, that means the normal for 2 0 0 plane will be greater than the normal for 1 0 0 plane. So suppose the mark end point for this normal will be somewhere here. Mark this. So this will be your 2 0 0 reciprocal lattice. So in this way we can draw for all these different kind of parallel planes. So for T3, 0, 0, we will have a point somewhere here. And now, like, we will take now this set of planes 0, 0, 1 and 0, 0. Okay, and our origin is this. This is your origin. So from here we will draw a normal on this plane 0, 0, 1 plane. And okay, and same thing, the normal, the length of normal will be 1 upon d 0, 0, 1. And suppose your endpoint is this, so this will be your 0, 0, 1 reciprocal lattice. We will also draw reciprocal lattice for this diagonal plane also. Okay, so this is your diagonal plane 1, 0, 1. From here origin we will draw a normal. Suppose the length of this normal is this, and this is your end point, so this will be your 1, 0, 1 reciprocal lattice. So in this way we will draw for all the possible atomic planes, parallel atomic planes inside this monoclinic crystal. So these points are your reciprocal lattices, and the whole system, the collection of all the reciprocal lattice is known as reciprocal space. Okay, so now this is your reciprocal space. Okay guys, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, in second figure, we saw that a plane is as a line.
Right.
So then we take a normal line. Then we consider as a plane or a line.
Normal.
What would we consider? A plane or a line?
You are talking about normal, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So your normal is we are talking about normal. So normal is a line. You can say the normal is a line. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Perpendicular line. Okay. So these are these.
Okay. Then we take a normal. Then in a plane, we get a point in a center of a plane, right?
Center of a plane. I didn't. No, Hasmukh.
When we yes.
Who is speaking? Justin. Justin. Yes. Okay.
Ma'am, I am Hasmukh.
Okay, yeah, Hasmukh. So, देखो, the thing is that we have these lines, okay, these light brown lines, these are planes, and we are telling you that these planes are these lines are basically plane, but you are seeing, आपको दिखाई दे रहा है that these are lines here, okay, but these normals
Yes,
are
yes.
lines, okay, from here these are lines, and perpendicular lines means they are नॉर्मल का मतलब ही ये होता है कि वो 90 डिग्री पे उसको कट कर रहा है, ठीक है. सो दीज आर द नॉर्मल,
Perpendicular to plane. Yes.
हाँ,
yes.
perpendicular to plane, but they are not passing through the middle point of these planes. You are getting Hasmukh?
Yes.
Okay, so like
Yes.
yeah, you can see for this plane, this is 101 plane, and this is your normal. So you can see this is 90 degree. This will be your 90 degree here, okay? But this is not passing through the middle point of this normal, okay? These are the perpendicular lines.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay? Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So in this way, yes, please.
Ma'am, from the third point, the length of the normal should be equal to the reciprocal of the interplanar spacing for the respective set of planes.
Right.
So here 101 is a plane, ma'am. So
right.
here in this plane, the spacing will be I couldn't get what is this exactly. The length of the normal should be equal to the reciprocal, ma'am.
Yeah.
At the we can get the end point, so 100. In 101 plane, which is equal to that, ma'am.
You didn't get that thing, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so suppose this length is this is your normal, and what we are repeating again, and again that this length is equal to the reciprocal of interplanar spacing for the respective set of parallel planes. Okay.
Ma'am, here set of parallel plane means, ma'am.
Set of parallel planes means this is your 1,0 plane, this is your 1,0,0 plane. So these are the set. Set means there are two
Okay, okay,
more
ma'am.
than two. So these two planes are parallel. So we are telling the set. This is a set of parallel planes 1,0,0. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So you are taking a normal to these planes from origin. Okay, and this is your normal, and this length is equal to 1 upon d100. So you know the interplanar spacing formula. DHKL equals to A upon H square plus K square plus S L square to the power 1/2.
Ma'am, 1 upon D. I couldn't get, ma'am. 1 upon
1 upon d100. You know the DHKL. DHKL is interplanar spacing, right, Justin?
okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So if we are talking about 100 planes, so it will be D100 means HKL are 100. So reciprocal of this DHKL will be 1 upon DHKL means 1 upon D100. So this length is 1 upon D100 basically.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
great. So now we will find out the very important formula between reciprocal lattice and direct lattice. Means we are relating these two types of lattice system. Okay, so you know the primitive translation vectors. Okay, means to represent a system we need some vectors. Okay, so if A, B, C, vector A, vector B, and vector C are the primitive translation vectors for direct lattice system. Okay, you know we are talking about translation vector T equals to NA vector A plus M vector B, like this. So these are the translation vectors for your direct lattice system. So in same way we need to describe the reciprocal lattice system, some translation vectors. Okay, so in reciprocal lattice system, sigma 100, sigma 010, and sigma 001 are basically the fundamental reciprocal lattice vectors. But sigma is quite we can say it's not that much familiar. So for convenience, we can represent these terms by vector A star. Okay, so in your reciprocal lattice system, vector A star, vector B star, and vector C star are your fundamental reciprocal lattice vectors. Okay, and we can relate these two types of vectors by using Fourier transform. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, if your ABC are primitive translation vectors for direct lattice, so your A star, that is the fundamental reciprocal lattice vector inside reciprocal lattice system, will be 2 pi vector B cross vector C upon vector A dot vector B cross C. So this is the relation, and these relations are very, very important. So in same way we can relate B star by this ABC, and it will be 2 pi C cross A upon A dot B cross C. And similarly your C. So your A star is also sigma 100, B star is sigma 010, and C star is sigma 001. So using these relations, very, very important relations, we can solve many problems in CSIR NET or GATE examination or other examinations also. So these are very, very important. So now we will see how we can construct reciprocal lattice for your BCC lattice. Okay. So suppose we are talking about BCC crystal structure. So we have a unit cell. Okay, this unit cell is BCC. So we will have an atom inside this structure, means at the body position of this unit cell. So now we will take 3 different unit cells. Okay, we are taking 3 different unit cells so that we can easily construct our reciprocal lattice. So for BCC lattice, what will be the primitive translation vectors? We have in this, we have 3 atoms at body positions because we have 3 unit cells here. Okay, just choose any one, means this point, this atom as your origin. Okay, and from this origin we we draw a line, okay, to these three atoms, okay, like this. So this will be, suppose your vector A dash, means primitive translation vectors for your BCC lattice, okay. And for this will be your B dash, vector B dash, and the third one will be your C dash, okay. So we will find out the value of these A dash, B dash, and C dash, and these A dash, B dash, C dash will be your primitive translation vectors for your BCC crystal structure. So what will be you, I think it's a very common thing in mathematics. You can find out the coordinate of any point, okay, if you know the origin, okay. And we are taking the axis as, this is your x-axis, guys, this one is your y-axis, and this one is your z-axis, okay. And the notation we take, the axis notation system we take in crystallography now, you can choose according to your convenience. Means you can take this as x, this as y, and this is as z. But whatever you are choosing, always choose the same system, okay. So I'm also choosing this, and in most of the books we will take this as x, y, and z, okay. So if we want to reach, if we want to go at this position, what should be the coordinate? You can you tell me, guys?
Ma'am, I by 2 plus j, I by 2, j by 2, and minus k by 2.
Okay,
All
yeah,
are
right.
half of the coordinate.
Okay, so this is inside the body position. So if we want to go here, we will go like this. This is your origin now. So first we will go from origin to this point, okay, and then we will go in this direction, okay. Half we will move in this direction, and then we will move in this direction, okay. So in this way we can say we are moving a half distance along x direction, half distance along y direction, and half distance along negative z direction. So in this way your A dash will be A by 2 I cap plus j cap minus k cap, because the edge of this cube is A, so half means basically A by 2. So in this way you can figure out the coordinate of remaining B dash and C dash, okay, and they will be, B dash will be A by 2 minus I plus j plus k, and vector C dash will be A by 2 I minus j plus k cap, okay. So now we will use the relations, these relations, okay, the relation between the primitive translation vectors for both the direct lattice and reciprocal lattice, means these three formulas. So we will use A, B, C as A dash, B dash, C dash, and solve these formulas. So we can get directly A dash, vector A star 2 pi A I plus j, vector B star 2 pi by A j plus k, and your vector C star is 2 pi by A k plus I, okay. So these are now the primitive translation vectors for this BCC lattice system in reciprocal lattice, okay. So these are basically, this reciprocal lattices of BCC lattices are FCC lattice, okay. What is this means? If you construct the primitive translation vectors for FCC lattice system like we did here for BCC, A dash, B dash, C dash. So these A star, B star, C star are basically A dash, B dash, C dash for your FCC lattice structure. Means we can say your reciprocal lattice to BCC lattice is basically FCC lattice. I highlighted this term because in GATE examination, we will have some questions, okay, one-line questions. So remember this thing. Now we will see reciprocal lattice to your FCC lattice system. So yeah, so your this big one, the big unit cell you are, you can see here, it's your unit cell or of your FCC crystal structure. And in FCC we will have atoms on all the faces, means this is your phase, this atom is at your phase position, this one, this one, this one, okay, yeah, okay. And these are your sorry guys atoms at the phase locations. So we will draw a cube by connecting all the atoms or all the phase atoms, okay. So this is also a cube now, okay, and this is small is a cube now, and using this cube we can figure out, we can find out the values of primitive translation vectors for your FCC lattice A dash, B dash, C dash. Means suppose this is your origin, okay, and suppose we choose this. Suppose this is your first atom phase position and this is your second. So we will draw this line. So suppose this is your A dash, this is your B dash, and suppose this one we took, and this will be your C dash. So in the same way as we did in the last slide, we can find out the coordinate of these points. So for A dash, it will be A by 2 I plus J, B dash will be A by 2 J plus K, and your it will be C dash, guys. So your C dash is A by 2 K plus I. Okay. So now we will use the same relations again, these relations. We will put the values of A dash, B dash, C dash in place of A, B, C, and we will find out that the reciprocal lattice vectors for your FCC lattice system will be 2 pi by A, I plus J minus K. B star will be 2 pi by A minus I plus J plus K, and your C star will be 2 pi by A, I minus J plus K. Okay, so you can see these vectors, these three vectors are okay. Okay, you can see. Okay, just forget the initial constant. See these things. So these are the same things. Means your reciprocal lattice vectors to FCC lattice are basically BCC lattice and vice versa. Okay. So these relations are very, very important relations. Okay. So now you can. Okay. So this is the problem based on this reciprocal lattice system. So a lattice has the following primitive vectors in angstrom. Your A is 2J plus K, B is 2K plus I, and your C is 2I plus J. Okay, these are the primitive translation vectors. Okay, and you have to find out the reciprocal lattice corresponds to the above lattice system. Means you have to use these formulas, vector A star, vector B star, and vector C star, and you have to find out these values for this corresponds to this. Okay, so can you quickly solve one and find out the value of A star? Can you do guys in 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Use these formulas. A star equals to 2 pi B cross C upon A dot B cross C. Write this formula and put the values of A, B, C, these values. Solve करके बताओ मुझे. You can do. अगर किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन है तो प्लीज आस्क. If you are confused now, please ask. Anyone?
Ma'am, A star will be pi into minus I plus J plus K.
Okay.
Because the A dot B cross C will be 2. So 2 is cancelled by 2 and we will get pi minus I plus J plus K. Is it correct, ma'am?
Let me check. Your A star. Aarti, Your dot B cross C will be 16. Hasmukh, Justin, Shravya, you are also trying now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes मैम it will be 16 actually है ना मैंने जो 2 है मल्टीप्लाई में वो कंसीडर नहीं किया था.
कर दिया.
That's why I made a mistake.
Okay. Okay, no issue. Okay. So Baki, Hasmukh, Justin, you got the answer? You got the A dot B cross C? Array, it's very simple in vectors. You use these things so many times now. Look, guys, only practice makes you, means the saying is true. Practice makes a man perfect. Okay, so
Ma'am, I think answer is A.
Answer. Okay, you got the answer also. Okay. Yeah, I think correct. Yeah. So you can find out your A star, B star, and C star. Okay, and so these are for BCC lattice system, these are the translation vectors. Okay, and because this structure will be a cube, and this pi by 2 here, so that means the edge of this cube will be pi by 2. Means your option A is correct option. Okay. Guys, any confusion? You got your answer?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so do one thing. You have the question papers of NET and GATE, previous year question papers.
Yes ma'am I have.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay, good. If you don't have, just download from our website also. Okay, I think more than 10 years papers will be there. I think from 2007 or 8 we have the papers. Okay, so if you don't have, in case you can download. If you have, very good. Okay, so just collect all the problems based on the topics we have covered. Okay, few problems we have already covered here in these lectures. Okay, and collect all the problems and try to solve the problems. Okay, and use your pen or copy. And okay, just like if you have soft copy, so okay, you have to take some don't solve orally. Okay, just solve, just make proper notes, so that last time you can revise all these things very quickly. Okay, and also guys, one more important thing I will discuss with you, like you always use a diary. Okay, short diary, like you realize that this formula and this concept and this line is very, very important. Okay, so just like solid state physics you are reading right now, so just collect all the small notes on a diary. Okay, because you are going to for your examination, you have 1 hour left, so you can quickly revise the very, very important formulas and concepts. Okay, so just follow this habit. This is very, very useful. Okay. Okay, so this is your answer. Okay, so now we will discuss the Bragg's law. What is the Bragg's law in reciprocal lattice? Okay, I will not give you the detail, the theoretical portion. You know that in direct lattice, the normal Bragg's law is 2d sine theta equals to n lambda. So in reciprocal lattice system, or we can say in vector notations, your Bragg condition for diffraction will be 2 vector k dot vector g plus d square equals to 0. So your k here, vector k here is nothing but the wave vector for the X-ray you are using. Okay, your X-ray is wave. So this is the notation for your wave vector for your X-ray. And G is basically the reciprocal lattice vector, means T is your translation vector in direct lattice. Now, so correspondingly your G will be the reciprocal lattice vector inside the reciprocal lattice system. if you want to know more about this this thing, I can give you the notes also. Okay, but you need to just learn, just figure out the condition of Bragg's law in reciprocal lattice system. So this is your condition. So now we will discuss few things about the Brillouin zone. Okay, so if you want to understand about the Brillouin zone, guys, now you need to understand first about the Wigner-Seitz cell. Okay, so you know, you are familiar with this term, Wigner-Seitz cell.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, great. So
Yes,
it's
yes,
nothing for you. Okay, so basically Wigner-Seitz cell is basically we can draw the Wigner-Seitz cell for any lattice point, if it's in direct lattice or if it's in reciprocal lattice system. So we can draw the Wigner-Seitz cell for any lattice point. So suppose we have this two-dimensional lattice system. Suppose this is your direct lattice system, and these are your atoms. These are your lattices. Okay, these red ones. So suppose we want to draw the Wigner-Seitz cell for this atom, this lattice. So this basically, this cell, this area is basically a area which is closer, which will be closer to this atom, this lattice, as compared to any other atom. Okay, so this is the definition. Okay, means it's basically, here we are talking about two dimension. So the Wigner-Seitz cell of a lattice point is defined as the volume, or you can also say area. Okay, if in two dimension we are talking about. So it's the portion, the space that encloses all the points in space which are closer to that particular lattice system as compared to any other lattice point, any other atoms. So how we can draw the Wigner-Seitz cell for this particular atom? Okay, first you have to figure out all the nearest neighbors for this atom. So suppose this is your nearest atom, this, 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 this. So these 6 are the nearest neighbors for this atom. Okay, draw the lines, arbitrary lines. Okay, join these points like this. So now we will draw the perpendicular bisectors to these lines, arbitrary lines. So this is your perpendicular bisector. You can see perpendicular bisector. So we will draw in this way for all. For this, for this, for this. So for all the arbitrary lines, we will draw the perpendicular bisectors. So they cut in this way. So the area, the volume, the space we are getting is basically the Wigner-Seitz cell for this particular atom, particular lattice. So in this way, we can draw, we can make the Wigner-Seitz cell for any lattice point, if it's in reciprocal lattice system or in this direct lattice system. But this is for direct lattice system. Okay, remember. Now, if we are talking about the Brillouin zone, okay, so this is your Brillouin zone, and it's basically, there are two definitions of Brillouin zone. We can understand the Brillouin zone in two ways. Okay, so first thing, basically we know the Bragg's condition in reciprocal lattice system is it's basically 2 vector k dot g plus g square equals to 0. Okay, so Brillouin zone is basically the locus of all the k values, in the reciprocal lattice systems which are Bragg's reflected. Means all the k values in reciprocal lattice system which satisfies the Bragg's condition. Okay, the locus of all these k values is basically a Brillouin zone. Okay, and the second important definition is that the first Brillouin zone is defined to be the Wigner-Seitz primitive cell of the reciprocal lattice system. Means if you have a reciprocal lattice system, you will have such kind of lattices. Okay, so draw the Wigner-Seitz cell, same kind of Wigner-Seitz cell in your reciprocal lattice system like this. Okay, we will draw the Wigner-Seitz cell, okay, in reciprocal lattice system. So the area, means this cell, this Wigner-Seitz cell will be known as your first Brillouin zone. Okay, so, or one more definition, there are like this one, this square, this is your first Brillouin zone. Okay, so there is also and one more thing, guys, these lines are basically atomic planes, because we are in reciprocal lattice system, and when we are joining these two these two atoms, these two lattice points. So these lines are basically the atomic planes. Okay, so we can also say that the locus of the set of points in K space that can be reached from the origin without crossing any Bragg's planes is known as first Brillouin zone. Means this is your first point, this is your lattice point, initial lattice point, we can say origin we are considering. So from here, you are moving from here throughout this lattice system, and if you can't cover a single atomic plane, so the area, the total area we can move without covering any atomic plane, the area or the volume or the space is known as first Brillouin zone. Means you can say this is your atomic plane, this is your atomic plane, and this is all also atomic plane. So if we are moving from here, so the whole area we can cover without crossing any atomic plane. So this whole portion, this whole area is known as your first Brillouin zone. Okay, now for second Brillouin zone, if you are moving from here, okay, and you are covering one atomic plane, so in this way this will be your first Brillouin zone. Means the second Brillouin zone you can achieve, it will be the set of points that can be reached from the first zone by crossing only one Bragg plane. Okay, in this way you can figure out what will be the nth Brillouin zone. So it will be the nth Brillouin zone is basically the set of points that can be reached from the origin by crossing n-1 Bragg's planes. So this is how you can draw the Brillouin zone. So this square is your first Brillouin zone. This portion, this triangular portion, this portion, this portion, this portion, and this portion, these are your second Brillouin zone. In this way you can also draw the third Brillouin zone. So these things, these triangles are your third Brillouin zone, and in this way you can get the and so on Brillouin zone also. So this is the little information about the Brillouin zone, so that you can solve the problems based on these things, Brillouin zone. So you can see this is the exact diagram. Okay, so basically we are drawing these in reciprocal lattice space. So we are guys, give me one second just. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Okay, so so this is the Brillouin zone. This is your Brillouin zone, and we are representing here the axis also. Okay, so these are the axes, kx axis and ky axis. Okay, so and these are your planes. Okay, these are your planes, and the dimensions of these Brillouin zones mean you can see the coordinates. This is plus pi by a and this is minus pi by a, because this is the origin. Okay, so that means this length will be 2 pi by a, means this is 2 pi by a and this is 2 pi by a, means this is basically we can say in 2 dimension, and the side of this is 2 pi by a, so it's a square basically of side 2 pi by a. Okay, and this is your first Brillouin zone and this one is your second Brillouin zone. So now we will see how we can solve a problem based on this Brillouin zone concept. So this is a problem. Which one of the following condition is not correct about the Brillouin zone? I'm audible now, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So which one of the following condition is not correct about the Brillouin zones of a square lattice with lattice constant A? Okay, so these 4 conditions are given to us, and it's for a square Brillouin zone in a square lattice. So first condition is given, the first Brillouin zone is a square of side 2 pi by a in kx ky plane. Second condition, the area of first and third Brillouin zone are same. Third condition is the k points are equidistant in kx as well as in ky direction. And the fourth condition is the area of second is second Brillouin zone is twice of first Brillouin zone, okay, are same. So we have to find out the correct statement among these four statements. So we can solve one by one. So what is the first condition? The first Brillouin zone is square of side 2 pi by a in kx ky plane. Okay, sorry guys, we have to find out the statement which is not correct. Okay, so the first statement is correct. Why it's correct? Because our first Brillouin zone is basically the square, right, having side 2 pi by a. So your first condition is correct condition. Okay, and your second condition, the area of first and third Brillouin zone are same. You can find out the area of first Brillouin zone. It's a square, so its area will be 2 pi by a into 2 pi by a. Okay, your third Brillouin zone is this third Brillouin zone. So this, you can find out the area of these triangles, okay, because you know this side, so you can calculate the area also, and you can find out this statement is the correct option. Means the area of first and third Brillouin zone are same. Okay, third point is the k points are equidistant in kx as well as in ky direction. This is also correct. Okay, so now we will figure out this. The area of second Brillouin zone and first Brillouin zone are same. So what is the area of first Brillouin zone, guys? It's a square, so its area will be 2 pi by a into 2 pi by a, means 4 pi square upon a square. Okay, and the area of second Brillouin zone will be, how you can find out the area of your second Brillouin zone is this. Means we have the four equivalent triangles. Okay, so we can find out the area of this triangle. What would be the area of triangle? Half into base into height. Okay, what is the base? Base is 2 pi by a, and what is the height, guys? This is also pi by a. So the area will be, area of a triangle, single triangle, will be 1 by 2 into 2 pi by a into pi by a, and we have four different triangles. So total area of second Brillouin zone is 4 multiplied by the area of a single triangle. So it will be 4 pi square upon a square. Okay, so the area of second is, okay, something is correct. Okay, so, guys, it will be 4 into 2. Okay, I will correct this. So this is basically 2 into 4, because it will be 4 now. You are getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So it will be basically 8 pi square upon a square, means 2 into 4 pi square upon a square. Means the area of second Brillouin zone is twice the area of first. Means this statement is not correct statement. So our correct answer is D, but this statement. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, is that right? Every Brillouin zone are same area?
No. That's we are calculating now. The area of second Brillouin zone is the area of second Brillouin zone is yeah. What is your question exactly?
Every Brillouin zone every Brillouin zone have same area. Is that right?
No, I think yeah, we can say this. I think I'm confused about this thing. Right?
I think it will be same only, ma'am.
It's same, yeah. It's same. Yeah.
For every Brillouin.
Yeah. It's same, and it's right. I just forget this by 2, and it's 4 square by a square. The area of second is twice. Okay, yeah.
Ma'am, one more thing.
Yeah.
Not for these two Brillouin zone, one and first and second. Every third, fourth, fifth, every Brillouin zone has same area. Is that right?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. It means we don't need to have any area. We need just a first Brillouin zone area.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. So this is I will correct this also. This is wrong. Okay, so from here up to here there should be full stop. Means the area of second Brilliant zone is twice of first brilliant zone. So this was the statement. So yeah, right. The area of these brilliant zones are same. Okay, guys. Okay. So you can ask questions if you have any query. What we have covered today, we have covered little things about the brilliant zone, and I will also give you few more concepts in next class about the brilliant zone, and we will also discuss about the atomic factor, the structure factor. Okay, we will discuss tomorrow about these topics. So now today we will discuss about Bragg's law, Wigner-Seitz cell, and reciprocal lattice system. Okay, and reciprocal lattice to BCC, FCC. Yeah, and we will also see the relationship between these reciprocal lattice and direct lattice system, and construction, how we can construct our reciprocal lattice to a direct lattice system, and also X-ray diffraction and Bragg's law. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes,
I have a question.
please.
Ma'am, if we find out all the things by direct lattice and Miller indices, then what is the use of reciprocal lattice? What is the basic need of reciprocal lattice?
Yeah, that's we have discussed. See, we can like in direct lattice now, we can only describe the structure. Only structure means it's monoclinic, it's tetragonal, it's
Yes.
rhombohedric, and okay. So we can only figure out about the crystal structure, about the Bravais lattices only by using the direct lattice system. Okay, but the main use of this we can say reciprocal lattice system, like if you are studying, if you are doing research or something, you want to know the atomic arrangements inside the solid, inside your crystal. Okay, means what is the arrangement, symmetry, what is the arrangement inside the crystal. So to see, to visualize, to figure out that arrangement, you need X-ray diffraction of your sample, X-ray diffraction of your crystal. Okay, and if you do X-ray diffraction, you get some kind of peaks. Okay, some peaks, and these peaks we get at different angles. Okay, so these peaks are basically related to atomic planes. Okay, and to figure out the relationship between these peaks and atomic planes, we need to understand about the X-ray diffraction, sorry, reciprocal lattice. Okay, so this is the need why we are discussing, why we are discussing this something we can say complex system, reciprocal lattice system, because some students and mostly students always ask about the reciprocal lattice. They don't know exactly about the reciprocal system. They cannot visualize the reciprocal lattice space. So this is this slide. Okay, so this is the reason why we discuss about the reciprocal lattice system, because we want to know the exact X-ray diffraction, the reason of X-ray diffraction, and that is basically the Bragg's plane and atomic planes relation. Okay. So guys,
Okay, ma'am. Okay, got it.
I think 1 minute. I think I gave you 2-3 problems today. Okay. So please try to solve these problems, and one more problem. I think 3 problems.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. I have a small doubt in X-ray
Please.
diffractions, ma'am. Like first
Yes.
slide, first term.
First about X-ray diffraction. Okay. X-ray diffraction. Yes, please.
There you talk about X-ray diffraction. Is it applicable for all waves, like monochromatic wave alone, or it is applicable for all waves, ma'am? All particles.
X-ray diffraction. Repeat your question.
X-ray diffraction, is it applicable for only monochromatic waves, or it is applicable for example, electrons, electron beam and neutron beam? Is it applicable for that also? Bragg's law, I'm asking.
Yes, Bragg's law is possible. Bragg's law is possible if we can use electron beam also. Okay, but
Electron or neutron, because like energy will differ, no ma'am. For electrons and neutrons, wavelength and energy it will differ, right? So
yeah,
is Bragg's law applicable? I'm
for
asking, ma'am.
electron beam, it's applicable.
Okay.
For neutron, I think it's not accurate, but for electron beam, na, it's quite possible. We can use Bragg's law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because in problems they gave from electron beam particles if they release like that. That's why I'm asking. It is same, no ma'am, for Bragg's law.
Bragg's law is same. We can use Bragg's law if we are using the electron beam. But
Okay,
in
ma'am.
crystallography, we here we use the X-rays, monochromatic X-rays, basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
So, guys, we have I think 3 problems. Please solve these problems. One is this. Okay, this is very simple problems. You can solve this problem, and 2 more problems we have in some slides. Okay. Okay, solve these problems, and the problems we discussed, I think in last lecture. Okay, I will also give you the solutions for these problems. Okay, guys.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other question? So you know what is
No, ma'am.
work? You solve these 3 problems, okay? And besides this, you have to find out the related problems in previous year's examination, GATE NET examination, okay? And
Sure,
tomorrow,
ma'am.
on Monday, na, you will have a small quiz of solid state physics based on the topics we have covered. Okay, guys? 20 to 30 minutes quiz you will have on
Okay, ma'am.
online quiz test. And once you completed the test,
Sure, ma'am.
you need to send me the screenshot of your your marks.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, I will
Okay,
share
ma'am.
the
Okay,
link
ma'am.
of website. We will by tomorrow we will upload the quiz on website, so you can. I will give you the link and you can access and give your test. Be ready and okay.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
don't leave the meeting. Okay, just we will take a break of 5 minutes, and Monica ma'am will join. She will start your thermal and statistical physics today. Okay, guys.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
No
so just
problem.
5 minutes break, and then we will start. Okay, bye-bye. Collect your queries, and tomorrow you can ask. Okay, we will start structure factor tomorrow.
Okay. Bye, ma'am.
Okay, bye.